Hello, everyone. My name is Varvara Lepchenko, and I'm a professional tennis player. Thanks for having me. Thanks to everyone who joined me today. I'm new to this, and I'm really excited to share my journey as a professional athlete with you all. And yeah, let's get started. So I was born in Uzbekistan, and when I was 15, I moved to United States. So I will start with my journey, how I ended up in United States. And my father wanted a better career for me, and so we moved to US. At first, we came for the junior tournaments because I was only 15 years old. And I came as an immigrant, me, my father, and my older sister. From that point on, it was back in 2001. I continue my journey with tennis and climbing up the rankings. And by year of 2011, in September, I have received my citizenship, US citizenship, and I started officially represent United States at the tournaments, professional tournaments. At that time, my ranking was only 120 in the world. And once I got my citizenship, I was invited by US Tennis Federation for extended training. And at the end of 2011, after that hard, extensive training, next year in 2012 was the year to try to make it to the Olympic Games. And the way it works in tennis, they go by ranking and how you do at the tournaments, and the 4 best ranked players from US get an opportunity and get invited to go to the Olympic Games. So I started my year in 2012 quite slow, but it was a dream of mine to make it to the Olympic Games. My first big tournament where I sort of made my leap was in Madrid, Spain. It's one of the biggest tournaments in tennis. It's in masters level, and 64 participants. And I've made it all the way to the quarterfinals, which leaves only 8 players in the tournament. And that required to win 4 or 5 matches. And my ranking at that time was 120, but by finishing that tournament, I became 60 in the world. I was obviously competing with other girls from United States for the spot at the Olympic Games. And at that time, it was Sloane Stevens, who is from US as well. And our last tournament to qualify was French Open, which is one of the biggest tournaments. It's one of the 4 Grand Slams. We have French Open. Who doesn't know, we have French Open, Wimbledon, US Open, and Australian Open. They give you the biggest amount of ranking points. And so at the French Open, I made it to the 4th round, and my compatriot made it to the 3rd round. So basically, I just moved 1 round more than she did. And in the locker room a day before, everyone was talking about it, because everyone knew who's going to the Olympic Games and who is not going and who's competing for what spot. And at the time, everyone was asking me that question, if I know that if I win one more round, then the girl that I'm competing against, that I go to the Olympic Games. So that obviously added a lot of pressure on me. It was a really tough battle. I beat the player who won the whole French Open a year before. And, but it wasn't over yet. I did overtake my compatriot with the ranking and the points, but I didn't make all the commitments that the tennis player has to make in order to go for the Olympic Games. So there was a special committee that had to vote for me to go, and I got, it was only consisted of 4 people, and 3 people voted for me. So I had a huge thing for me going at that time, and I made it to the Olympic Games in 2012, London. Also, there was a quite funny story. In the end of 2011, I was training with a group of young boys, and they asked me if I have any type of clothing contract, and my ranking was pretty low at that time. I was only 120, and so I didn't have any clothing contract. And I said, no, I don't. And they said, why don't you write a letter to Nike and ask them for a contract? So I wrote a letter, and I kind of represented myself. Usually everyone had, all the top athletes, they have an agency that representing them, but I didn't have anyone at the time. So I wrote a letter to Nike saying that I'm going to end the year of 2012 in top 20. And once I made it to the Olympic Games at 2012, I ended the year. That boost gave me so much confidence that I started to go deeper and deeper in every single tournament. And at the end of the year, from 120 in 2011, I made it to top 20 in the world. So that was kind of like a Cinderella story for me, and the beginning of a new chapter in my professional career. And I'm going to jump from that point. And since then, I was consistently, since 2012, I was consistently in top 60 in the world until 2018, until I got an injury on my shoulder. And that kind of slowed me down, and I had to take extended break. And I still came back really strong in the end of 2018 by beating a lot of good players, but I couldn't consistently play every single week. So my ranking dropped. And in 2019, I've been picking up pace and winning more matches. But once I started picking it up in 2020, we got this pandemic going on. So in the beginning, because I had so many challenges in my life, so many things that I have to overcome, that I didn't know what to do once the pandemic started, and it gave me a new outlook to life, a new perspective, and I started like discovering myself. So I decided to try out a coaching situation. We've been very lucky in Pennsylvania even though it was really cold. Most of the public courts were open, and the distance that tennis is a sport of distance. We have our opponents very far away on the other side over the net. So I was able to train a girl in Allentown and try new skills for myself as a coach. I've also started drawing, and I've discovered a new talent in me that I can draw different paintings. So then I've been very lucky. Florida was still opened, and one of the organizers in tennis started this little exhibition. And I've tried my part in coaching, and I realized that as much as I love to be coach in the future, I still have a lot of passion and still have a lot of desire to play myself. And my health was coming back together. So I went to Florida and started to play these exhibition tournaments. And not only I discovered that I have this second wave or third or fourth wave of playing my favorite sport in the world, but I've also started this journey on my own, because I used to travel a lot with the coaches, with my father, with the team. And because of COVID, of course, we had to slow everything down. Everyone was going through financial hardships. And so I went on my own. And it started to build even stronger character in me, because I started like learning more and more about myself, about different things and how to go through these difficult times for everyone. I started meditating in the morning and listening a lot of inspirational topics, such as Joe Dispenza, one of those people who inspired me to wake up every morning and think only positive thoughts. And I started to live by that, and all of a sudden, by the mid of August, because again, we're lucky as a tennis sport that we are able to compete in a long distance with each other. I went, some of the tournaments started out. So, but mainly a lot of them started in Europe. So actually, I know a lot of you probably really curious, and I never had to travel like that before in my life because it's very restricted. So my first tournament was in Prague, and I had to take a flight from New Jersey. When I came to the airport, everyone looked at me as a crazy person. They started to ask me all these questions. Where is your invitational letter? And I had to go for Paris. And they were like, why are you going to Paris? Where is your invitational letter to Paris? You can't travel there as a tourist. So I had to quickly adapt to the situation and call the organizers in Prague, and they sent me a special letter for the professional athletes who are going to participate in that tournament. So I showed them the paper. It was from the government, saying that they approve whoever competes in this tournament to come and travel. And after, but that wasn't the end. I already had 4 or 5 COVID tests before traveling, but they asked me to show a a recent one, like from 2 days before, and it didn't show anywhere on when I was buying my ticket that I have to show the test, the COVID test, the negative COVID test that made within 2 days before. And so I was completely lost, and I was like, what do I do? And so I showed them the one that I was traveling on Saturday, and the one that I had was from Tuesday. So they didn't want to let me in Paris, and somehow I was able to travel with all of my papers. It was kind of a struggle. The airports were completely empty, and it was quite nice actually, because I went through the security pretty fast, where usually it takes a while to go through TSA. And then I went to Prague. When I arrived to Prague, there was another challenge. We are only allowed to stay at our hotels, at our official hotels, and we are not allowed to leave them. And at the beginning of the tournament, we have to take a test at the hotel, the COVID test. They set up a team of medical professionals to do the testing right there. And after that, you go into your room, you check in, you go into your room, and you sit and wait. Thankfully, they also have an arrangement with the hospitals that the lab brings the test back pretty fast, and usually comes back within 24 hours or 36 hours. So basically I was locked in Prague hotel for almost 2 days. They bring the food in your room. They leave it outside of the room, thinking that you might have a positive test. And once you get your negative test, you can go on site. You take an official transportation, and you are not allowed. We used to be able to share the car with other girls from the tournament, but now you are only allowed to go with your team, and you're only allowed to bring one person with you. And so I was traveling by myself pretty much, and it was quite a new experience for me, but I was really, really grateful that I'm able to play and start back again. My routine's usually almost the same every single day. For those who are interested, how I go about my days when I'm out of the tournament and when I'm at the tournament. So when I'm out of the tournament, I get up in the morning, and the first thing I start is my meditations to clear my mind, to stay calm throughout the day, because we all have to go through a lot of things, and stay in our bubble and not let anyone to crush it. So then I try to eat really healthy, because everything I put in, it's an energy and fuel for my body. So I would have an oatmeal with berries and a little bit of protein. It could be just a smoothie with the protein, or an omelet. I switch it up every single day. And then I go for an hour and a half of tennis specific training. And also I'm doing fitness, because you have to stay in shape in order to sustain the trainings that I do. So usually then I do like an hour of fitness. I have a lunch, and again, I try to eat really healthy, and I'll have a little bit of carbs, and there is never like any dressing or any fats on it. protein and of course the healthy fats as avocado or something like that. I get my macronutrients in. Then I digest it, and I go for another practice, which is a shorter one, and it's very specific things. And after that, I do stretching. I get a massage or a physio working on my body to make sure, because every single day I put so much work in, and there's the body always goes out of balance or out of the alignment. So I need to keep it like loose and recovered for the next morning. And after, I just have a protein shake again and a good healthy dinner. What, like a lot of people ask me, how do you do this? Like, why you just hitting the balls every single day? It's the same thing over and over and over again. And some people don't understand that tennis is just such a versatile sport. And when I compete and I play match, it's almost like living a passage of life in a short period. We have to make quick decisions, and they have to be the right ones. And it's the same in life. You have to make good, right decisions to be able to succeed or win. You have to enjoy it. You have to continue to enjoy it, so it gives you more energy to go through whatever you're going through. You have to fight as well for every single point. So if you want to get something in life, you have to fight for it. And also you have to stay mentally strong and mentally positive in order to win. So that's what thrills me, and it's so challenging, and I'm not always at my best, but when I go into the tournament and I play my matches, I always have that in mind. And the last thing, you always have to stay calm, because if you use too many emotions, obviously that could throw you off. And I think in life it's the same. If you use too many emotions, it can also throw you off. So that's why I love tennis, and I love these challenges, and I have so much passion, and it gives me so much motivation every single day. And yeah, I just that's kind of like how I'm going through right now. I'm in Florida training, and right after I talk to you guys, I'm traveling already to another city. I'm going to Georgia, Atlanta, and I have tournaments coming up. There's 3 tournaments that, again, I'm so thankful that our American Federation is able to put together. And I know it's really hard because we play without our supporters, our biggest fans, and it's a completely different vibe, completely different energy. But you always have to look the positive in every single day. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to go back on tour. So let me go through some of questions right now. Let's see. I got a lot, so I can. Okay. Hey, Jared. Thank you. Thank you so much for these kind words. Hey, Joe. How are you? I remember our little tennis session. Okay. Hey, Pilar. Thank you. Hey, Anne. Absolutely, I love sharing my story. Okay, can you walk? I got a question from Linda. Can you walk us through typical training day for you? What types of things do you do for conditioning? So um, there is one thing that I try to do every time I travel to another country, to another tournament, because climates are so different in every single country. I just came from Europe and it was really cold. It was fall there and the temperature was really down. And so when I go, the first thing in the morning, I go find a place where I run for 20 minutes. So my lungs and my body can get used to the temperature, to the climate, if it's dry or humid, um, whatever it is, I try to do it in the morning and kind of start my day like that. Conditioning that I'm doing, it every day, it's actually very different. And we have in sports periodization things, such as one day I do a really hard training. It could be a conditioning like such as like running sprints or doing a certain shadow exercises that uh, same as playing tennis. And then next day, I would do something with the power where I do a lot of jumps, explosive exercises. And then the next day, it could be a lighter day, and I would do everything laying down, exercises for stability, balance, abs exercises to keep all the little muscles strong so they can so I can stay injury free. So let's see. Thank you again for joining Girls Night featuring special guests. Okay. What was your most memorable match, Leslie Thomas? So again, that was the match, as I've said before, to qualify for the Olympic Games. And I played the former champion of French Open. She was defending her title, and actually, when we started, we played 2 weeks before playing at the French Open, and it was I won that match. But 2 weeks later, when I started to play her at the French Open, she had a different tactic. So at the beginning, I lost the first set and I had to change something. So again, this is life. If something doesn't work out, we have to change something, right? So I changed my tactic and I won second set. And then I was playing the third set and we were battling and it was going 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. And when I got to a point of 5-3 and I had to win one more game, in order to finish the set, you have to get to 6. And if you're on the same number, like if it's 6-5, you always have to win by 2. So if it's 5-3, I have to win one more game and make it 6-3. If my opponent gets to 5-0, for example, I have to get to 7. So the only thing I had to do is to win one game, but I had such a hard time. I had my muscle, my body, everything tightened up, knowing all of a sudden all these thoughts coming into your mind that I might be able to go to the Olympic Games. And it was really difficult to finish, so I couldn't finish. She came close. She came back to 5-0. So then I got in front again and went to 6-5. I couldn't finish it again. And then it was 6-0. And then I went to 7-6. And again, I think I finished it at 9-7 or 10-8, something like that. And it was just the best memory in my life, to make it to go with the best team in the world to the Olympic Games. So that was one of them. That's a great question. Thank you for that question, Leslie. What is my guilty pleasure? So yeah, I do like pastries and I do like chocolate a lot. So every once in a while, I'll allow myself to have something like that, but then I have to go and burn it off. What's my favorite quarantine workout? Oh, that's another great question, because in the beginning, when I was, once the pandemic started, it was too cold to work out outside. The only thing I could do is play tennis. The temperatures were in 50s or no, even in 40s, and it was so windy in Pennsylvania. And I was doing a lot of workouts inside of my house, inside of my home, and all the gyms were closed as well. So it was mainly, it was very similar to aerobic workouts, and it was using a lot your own body weight, and I think, and plus putting your favorite music on, and that just brings so much more energy. I think when you listen to the tunes that bring a different vibe in you. So I would say the aerobics that, and plus your favorite music. Okay. Okay, so my next, what advice can you give for an inspiring high school tennis player whose dream is to go pro? I think the best advice that I can give is you just have to enjoy, number one. Like, you have to have a huge passion, and so it doesn't matter where your level of tennis right now. You have to believe that you can get to any level that you want, as long as you put an extra work, and as long as you just dedicate yourself 100% to what you love and focus all of your attention there. You can become a professional tennis player. It's not an easy road, so you have to be ready for a lot of challenges, and you have to be ready to forget your losses quickly, and not to get discouraged by that. Okay, when you get nervous during a match, do you talk to yourself or try to stay in the present and not think too much? Yeah, I think this is the key in life and on tennis court as well, that you should be able to stay in the moment. You should be able, like, to get yourself back where you are at that moment, and try not to jump too much in front, or think about the past or anything that outside of what you're doing at the moment. And I do have some techniques that I try to give myself, but I think the meditation really helps staying calm and staying in the moment and not being distracted by anything that it's outside. And even though I do that, I still have thoughts coming through this moment. So I give myself like small cues on the shots, or just something like turn your shoulders fast, or have explosive feet, something like that, or just watch the ball. So I bring my attention back to where I am. Do I think if kids can compete too young, is there any age that is too young to compete? I think uh, as long as the kid is very competitive, they can start at any age of 5, 6, 7. I started playing tennis when I was 6 years old, and honestly, my dad had to motivate me in all kinds of different ways, because all I wanted to do is play with other kids at the playground, and we had like a sand ground, so you can make different figures with your little buckets or whatever you had at the time. So that's what I wanted to do when I was 6 years old. But my dad would motivate me with the bubble gum if I would hit a certain amount of shots against the wall, and as a kid, you just get motivated by these little things. And then he discovered that I have a very competitive character, and so then it's just like other things that start motivate you, and then you just don't want to lose anymore. So as long as the kid enjoys, and also they'll learn from young age that you're not always going to win, and then you have to go through some losses, they can start early. So okay, so I've answered all the questions, and I have one more. um, do the women on tour warm up or hit with each other ever, or just with your own coaches? So I think the whole pandemic changed a lot of minds and of the girls on tour, and I've seen people are more fresh and more mentally ready to compete harder, and they are also like more open to different things. So when I was in Paris playing French Open, I actually, because I was alone, I have asked the girl from Romania, because I knew her coach for a long time, if I can share her coach for the week in Paris, because it was a big tournament and it was very difficult for anyone to make it to Paris, because you also have like to have a special invitation from the government, and a lot of people were scared because of coronavirus to travel. And so we were practicing the whole tournament together, and we were sharing the coach together. So it was quite a fun experience for me, because in the past I never shared coach that much, and I never really hit as much with other players from the tour except my coach, and when I have to play some practice competitive matches. And we would hang out all the time. We would have like lunches together. We would have meetings together. At the end of the day, we were sharing our tennis experience with each other. It was quite fun experience, and still that girl is texting me and saying that she can't wait for us to come together again and have the same experiences in the future. So let's see. So anyone else have a questions for me? Did I answer everyone question? Like those were fun. Thank you so much. I really had great time sharing my story, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you stay in good health. Maybe some tips in diet, my diet would help you to boost your immune system. And I had an amazing time being here, and I'm like so grateful for this opportunity. And I just happy to answer all of your questions and share my story.